voting on agenda items.
Well, I have a video that I would like to show here. As I warm up the projector, I will just go kind of preface what concerns are. My major concern is that at the last meeting, we voted to approve the BYOD program when the posted agenda item was public forum bringing on device. And my understanding of posting an agenda items is that we are supposed to stay to the actual subject. And I feel that that was what we did was not clear notification to the public. I have had people already contact me and said, I thought that there was going to be a public forum before you voted on it. So, and that's what our agenda indicated. You have no problem with that as chair?
Have you shown the video?
No, I'm saying of this particular problem that we have, that we voted on something that was not clearly an agenda item. I mean, when I went to the school board meeting, seminar, that was a biggie that we're not supposed to do. You're supposed to put it to a next meeting, because you're supposed to notify the public of what business is going to be dealt with. And I think it was pretty clear that we were dealing with a public forum about not the program itself.
Well, I would counter that. You know, we're talking about items. I mean, some of these are large items. We talk about good to great, but we don't know what we're going to be talking about good to great. We could make a motion to add something to the program, delete something from the program. We don't know until we hear reports. We hear network security. We don't know. We could have made a motion tonight on network security.
Yes, but that agenda item was specifically public forum hyphen in one place. Public forum appeared first in the agenda item. I mean, so it was, the subject was public forum and the subgroup was BYOD. Now, I think that's pretty clear by the way it was stated. I would agree with you with network security, but I would be under the impression that if we were going to vote on something, especially something huge, that we put it on the next agenda for the vote. If we got right up to that point, I would be in favor of that, whether we could do it or not. But I think we clearly violated that intention with what we did with the last vote.
Well, I guess in answer to your question, no, I don't think it did, because we were discussing BYOD.
Okay, well, I certainly disagree with that. The other problem that I have is this intention, or your stated intention that all of my motion was to schedule a forum before the vote and not actually have the vote. And that's the position that I saw you state at the last meeting. And that's why I brought the video here, because I have the video from the 31st meeting when that motion was made. And I think it's pretty clear you were there at that meeting, you voted for this, there was a lot of discussion about this. And I think the intention of that motion was pretty clear and pretty understood by everybody present at that meeting. So I'd like to play that video so that we can see what actually happened. The audio is a bit difficult because there's no microphones.
Before we get into the agenda, Dave, you have something you wanted to bring up?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we schedule a public forum concerning BYOD sometime before we vote.
Sometime before what?
We vote on it. If I can get a second, I'll speak to it.
Excuse me a second.
I just think that it's important for us to invite the public in and to hear all the views about the program before we go ahead and take such a big step. It's budget.
Is there
Any other discussion?
any kind of like format?
I didn't want to take a lot of time tonight, I wanted to ensure that we would be able to have one, and then maybe next Tuesday, we can decide when, or between now and then, or how, or so forth.
I can say I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I'd like to, maybe wait until then and hear more about it. But, again, I'm all for format. It's one thing saying you're going to have a forum, but it's another to have it set up and run smoothly. So again, I'd like to wait and hear what the overall plan is before I decide one way or the other.
Well, my concern is that the calendar's running out very quickly. And my thought was if we agreed to have one, then maybe we could send out the meeting wizard, we could try to find a date, and then by next Tuesday, maybe we could actually set that date, because soon school will be over. And I think if we are trying to invite the public into July, it's going to be tough to get anybody to show up. So my thought was maybe by getting it started now, we could finalize it on Tuesday. I'm open to the format. I didn't prepare a format because I don't have a particular preference.
Just if I could, Cheryl, there's a motion on the floor for a public forum, a public forum for BYOD. And we're in the discussion phases of that motion right now.
And it was before we vote on it, was there, like you said, I missed, did you say to have one before we vote on it as a board?
Yes, I wasn't picking a specific date or
Right,
anything,
right,
just
before,
before
yeah,
we would
yeah.
bring it to a vote.
Did we ever specify when we had to vote? I mean, do we have any kind of deadline? What is there a deadline?
I think the game plan is June 19th.
To make a determination on where
Yes.
we're going with
Yes.
BYOD by the 19th?
And I'm wondering if before, well, either tonight or at our meeting on the 5th, that we could talk about the 19th, because we're supposed to be at the head school. I think the boards going to have to consider that as a facility in conducting business. And secondly, the superintendent can't do that. So,
Okay.
Can't be where, at the 19th? or
Yeah.
something?
yeah. What happens, Mike, is at the end of the year, the 8th grade graduations, we don't know when they're going to be because we don't know what snow days are. And then they're scheduled at the end of the year. And I always have a conflict with Summit. And boards generally, like the superintendent, at their graduations, that's Candy's graduation. And boards generally make accommodations for each other, so I can get to the graduation and get to the board meetings.
And it's my understanding too, that we don't really have any deadline that we have to vote it on the 19th. It's just that that's when we're supposed to have the report and,
We don't have a report to you. I think our goal is, I think what we said to you is we have it to you, I can carry it to your meeting on the 5th.
Right.
That's our plan.
right. So I guess what I should have said is we'll have time to have considered it by the 19th, but there isn't any real deadline that we have to vote that night. I'm flexible. I just would like to get on the record that we are going to have a public forum at some time before we vote. That's really all I'm asking in the motion, and, we can work out the details. Well, we can work out the details now. I didn't want to hold up the meeting with that.
I have a question for the superintendent. We're expected to have the report. Does the report include the results of the surveys that went to families that participated in it, or are those survey results coming at a separate time?
No. The surveys are back. And I believe we sent surveys to all parents, whether they,
Second, fifth, and sixth grade.
second, whether they participated or not. Yeah.
Okay.
So those would be part of, an analysis of those would be part of the report.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of having the public forum on BYOD at a, I guess a date and time to be determined, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry. Do you oppose?
I'd like to abstain because I wasn't included enough in the discussions. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I'm not opposed to it, so it's 3-1-1. So we'll see where we end up.
I have one other quick motion. I'd like to make a motion that we're public forum before we would take any vote to change the high school assembly policy. We don't know what we're going to, so obviously it's an idea of planning to that. So my point is, I think it's pretty clear by the video and the discussion that the intention was to conduct the forum before there's no vote. And I would ask someone that voted for BYOD in the affirmative to motion for reconsideration of the BYOD program until we can have such a forum and comply with the vote of this board,
Held
the
down
will of
right
this
now,
board, to
saying
have the
yes
forum
or no,
before the vote.
comfortable, but I'd be open to it
I
as-
can't ask for
as we
reconsideration
discussed
because I voted
high school
against it.
assignment of coordinating the forum as the board at that time.
No discussion? No concerns with what you saw?
I'm
Well,
waiting,
I think
just giving time for your request.
Okay.
I'm giving none.
What's going to happen next year.
I have no issue with the way I vote.
And I think if you look back, what happened
I'll tell you,
last year.
any program we
major
have,
criticisms was that there was
by the
no
way,
public
I
forum,
am
no way
in
to
favor
discuss
of
this
public forum.
before it happened.
As I stated,
There were public meetings, but
video.
there was not a forum called.
We can
I feel that if you
change
call the forum,
this at any
people have a
point.
chance to come out. and
Nothing
speak
we've
their
done is
mind.
set in stone, and this is the way it's gonna be forever.
And I think on the big issues
If we
like.
if we get information, additional information that we have not received, we can make changes.
I don't think that we're.
So nothing, I don't see where we're moving along on a specific calendar that we had predetermined before the pilot. Do the pilot,
And it prevents a quick vote from happening when
do a survey,
they have
we
not
did.
had a chance to come forward.
We're gonna evaluate, and we're gonna decide if we're gonna move on. And that was done before you were on the board. So I don't think we've been inconsistent with anything we've done. I definitely heard the discussion about, hey, we'd like to have it before the vote. It didn't happen.
Opposed?
I heard it, I admit it, I heard it.
And
It
you
was
have
on video.
you have no problem with
Absolutely
that
not.
vote, and then going ahead and approving it under an improper agenda item at the next meeting. I just want you to be on record, Dana, saying that that you're okay with that.
No,
Because I'm not.
I would not be in favor of it under a new proper. It was a BYOD. There was a lot of things discussed that night. It wasn't just around a forum.
Well, Dana, the official agenda item was public forum -BYOD. You opened the discussion, which is unusual for you as chair, because usually you hang back. We never discussed forum. You said, while we're talking about BYOD, which we hadn't even been talking about it yet, and you motioned to approve the program without public notice, after we promised a public forum. And to me, serving on this board, I wouldn't want to be part of that. That's not right. We agreed to have a public forum, have people come in, hear their opinions before we vote.
We make motions regularly
I don't think
without
we-
having them on the agenda. Not every motion we make is on an agenda.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking you why in that video you voted to have the public forum when clearly I stated it, Mike stated it. The clear intention of that was to have it before the vote. The word vote was used multiple times before all those words were used. You voted for it, and then out of the blue, you approved the program at the 20th meeting. Whether you're for BYOD or not, I mean, it's almost irrelevant at this point. We're a board, we're supposed to serve the public, and this is what we do. It's disgraceful to me that we serve the public this way. I want the public to come in and give some input to us.
Tricia? Cheryl?
It was my impression we are having for the forms before it actually is implemented in October. Isn't that the motion? Is going to begin in October, allowing the administration to put together the form prior to that.
Each school is going to have their, I mean, you can call it what you want, an informational night, but there's going to be a night in September, an evening in September, at each school, where the program is rolled out, explained, questions, Q&A. So yes, that was part of the motion.
Can I just clarify, that was part of the motion at the last meeting. That was not part of the motion we just saw. The motion that we just saw was very clearly to have it before the vote, and that was approved by this board.
Tricia?
My interpretation of that was that the public forum was before the implementation of the program, not the vote. That's why I voted the way I did at our last meeting. And I think from the pilot program, the reason that it is and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, David, is that the meetings will be at each individual school because the issues at each individual school are different. The uses of your own device are very different at the Collie Middle School than they would be at Underhill or at Memorial. The uses are different. What you're concerned about is a little different, and there was some concern having them all at once in the first public introduction of the program.
Oh, please, I'm sorry.
Well, Mrs. Corcus, after you watched this video, didn't it clarify to you that what was said here was that the forum would occur before the vote?
No, that's not clarified.
It was stated 3 times in this video. Okay, I don't know what else I can say. And, you know, you've watched the video, and if that's your will, then that will be your will. I think we've done another disservice to the public, which is seemingly consistent with this board. Thank you. Let's move on.
Any other discussion on that agenda item? Okay. Voting. On the agenda item?
Well, I think that just got blended right into what we were talking about. I don't feel that the agenda item, public forum, bring your own device, was proper to move the program under. I think we should talk about some of these things and what expectation the public is going to have. I was contacted 2 days before that meeting and asked if that agenda item was a public forum, if someone wanted to come. And I said, no. That agenda item is to set a date. You will have a chance to speak at a public forum before we vote. The board is voting for that. So that was clearly my understanding of that agenda item, and I think it was pretty clear to other people, and I can tell you there has been some reaction from the public that is a bit disbelief about this. But we've pretty much discussed that. I'm fine with your interpretation of it.
Any other comments on voting on agenda items? School board email addresses.
Well, I'm just wondering if the last 2 school board members that have not adopted the school board emails are. I think there's at least one email that I have sent to you, Dana, to your school board address by mistake, and made a statement that I had sent you an email, and back checking my records, I had not sent it to your personal email. So I'm just asking if you guys are going to set those up.
I already have.
I didn't receive any. I'll change your email on my list then.
Right now, I'm sticking with what I've got.
That's all I have on that.
Anyone else on the school board email addresses? Email communication with administration.
Well, I think I need to know from Dr. Littlefield what the expectations are. In the past, I have emailed principals and received answers from them. The last time I emailed them, I received a response from Dr. Littlefield. Sometimes when I email Dr. Littlefield, I receive no response, not even a recognition that he received an email. Now, I understand if Dr. Littlefield does not wish to enter into discussion with me or answer my questions, but I think at least an acknowledgement of that would let me know that he's received it and what his position is. I don't think that we should have selective response to email if we're gonna, you know, do we have access to ask the principals questions? Or if everything is gonna go through the superintendent, then I think everything should go through the superintendent, not simply emails from one person or one subject. And I'm kind of looking for what the policy is about that. If we have a policy, or whether Dr. Littlefield has a policy of his administration about what to do.
I know there's been a lot of discussion this evening about, you know, public having input, and you know, my concern since I've been on this board is email communication, to be honest with you. I think we do far too much of it, and you know what, I think we're doing a disservice to the public by doing that. So, you know, with that said, I'm going to throw a motion out there that we discontinue email communications to the administration, board to administration, and that all discussion points be handled in a public forum in the meeting.
I need that a little more. So the motion is that
The
no
motion
more
is that
emails
no more
will
emails
be
from board to administration.
be sent from the board members to administration. And all inquiries.
Be handled in a public forum. If I get a second,
I'll second.
speak further to it. I'm just going to continue on with what I was saying. I think we have way too much discussion that happens via email. I know I've sent out cautions a number of times about deliberation, and I guess we could all give an interpretation of exactly what a deliberation is, but I don't like it, and again, I think we're doing a disservice to the public, because a lot of the items that we're communicating on, we probably don't talk about in meetings because we're satisfied at that point. You know what? The items should be brought up in public. If the administration needs to do research, then they'll ask for a certain amount of time to get back to the board. I think that's the way it's more efficient that way, and again, I think it's better serving the public.
So your motion, Dana, is everything? So we're not to email the administration about upcoming meeting dates. I can't come to the meeting. I'll be late.
I would say those could go board to board. You're not going to, you're going to be late for a meeting, you send it to me.
So you're saying that no board member includes or sends anything to the superintendent or any of the teachers or administration?
Board-related items. Board-related items, yes. I'm not going to say you couldn't ask something about your student. That would be absurd. But board-related items that should be handled in a public forum.
So if I have a question about network security.
Public.
Okay. But if I have a question about network security as a parent, then I can go right ahead and email it. As a parent or citizen.
You could.
I don't support it.
Tricia?
According to our Policy manual, technically the only time we are school board members is when we are sitting at this table. So any questions that we have as a school board member should be directed to the administration. At a school board meeting, we are not school board members once we leave this, according to our, I'm not sure if it's our policy, but it's in our policy binder that you are a school board member when you're sitting at the school board. And I've been on this board for 18 months. I've never asked an administrator a school board question or a teacher a school board question. I brought it here.
If I could clarify, and Dave, I'm going to direct it to you. You know what? I think email is a great tool. I wish we could be using it, but quite honestly, I think you abuse it. I think you're harassing with it. I think you harass the administration. I've got, I don't know how many, so I won't throw a number out because I know people hold you to numbers. But I've got a slew of emails that I've gotten from you asking, again, the same question over and over again, which I consider harassing. And I don't like it. That's why I made the motion. Quite honestly, if it wasn't for the way you handle it, which I think is unprofessional, immature, I would not have made that motion.
Okay, Dana, so you're accusing me of harassing you, having unprofessional behavior, and being immature with me. Is that's what you just stated? That's your position?
You want to play the tape back? That's what I said.
Okay. I just want to be clear because I don't want to misquote you in my email.
Well, we'll play it
Because
back.
Dana, I asked the question as many times as needs to be asked. And if you find that objectionable, then that's your problem. Because I don't take pat answers when I'm asking a question. I'm trying to get to the bottom of something, I'm going to ask some questions. And I don't feel that I've ever harassed the administration. I have never heard from the administration with any objections. I have seen the administration not answer my emails when the questions get tough. But I have never seen any accusation of harassment from him. And if you're going to make an accusation of harassment, I wish you would bring something forth. Because I would not make empty accusations about your behavior without bringing some proof. Just like I did tonight, when I disapproved of your behavior at the last meeting in the vote, I brought you the video so that you could see what I was talking about, and you can view it, and other people can view it and they can assess it. So if you're going to make that accusation, I wish you'd bring something forth to show the public emails that I have sent you that you feel are harassing, unprofessional, and immature. I would appreciate that.
I'll add too that they get edited when they get posted, which I don't like. They get piecemeal. There'll be cuts and pastes from emails that go in, which if you don't read the entire email, you don't get the whole gist of the situation. And if you can tell me quite honestly that you don't cut and paste emails and put portions in, certain quotes, when the entire email is if it's read, would change the intent of it, then...
Again, Dana, I wish you'd bring specifics forward because
Yeah.
what your interpretation of cutting and pasting and changing the context may be very different from what I think. No, I can't think of those in offhand, and I can tell you I don't intentionally do that. I edit for length if I want to post something. But I have no problem with anyone seeing any of my emails, and I have no problem with anybody taking one line out of them or two and putting three together. I have nothing to hide from being on this board.
Tricia?
Cheryl was first, actually.
Cheryl, I'm sorry.
I think it's really unfortunate that it comes to this. I know that I've seen emails that made me uncomfortable that if I was an employee of this district and I am an employee of town, I would be very uncomfortable if a council member was sending me those emails. And I would know really what my recourse is. So I think it's unfortunate that it has to come to this. I wish it could be that we could email each other fairly and understandably and respect each other.
Cheryl, are you talking about my email?
I'm talking about emails that I've seen.
From me?
They weren't to me. I've seen emails that were back and forth with questions.
From me? Well, I wish you'd bring them forward. Because you're now accusing me of sending out things that are improper. And
But David, you are improper. You have harassed Matt Woodrow for months because you don't like the way he answers a question. And if that makes me liable for using his name, then I'm liable. I find it harassing that you emailed me personally on my school district email to ask me to justify my vote as another school board member. We are school board members when we're here, that's it. You have cut and pasted things Dana has said and other people have said on Hooksett issues. You post on Hooksett issues that I didn't get back to this committee, I didn't get back on this information or that information, when they are all committees that you came to the board and said you would do, and then when the vote didn't go your way, you took your ball and went home. You're doing the same thing with the assessment committee, and you say we're not listening to the public.
Mrs. Corcus, you were the one that sat here and said we were not going to be personal. You've said that many times. You have now just put words in my mouth and
David,
given me intentions here. You're stating my intentions for what I did. You said that I harassed Matt Woodrow. I've asked Matt Woodrow technical questions after researching them. These are not baseless questions. I talked to representatives. I've asked questions about specific devices. I don't go around saying Matt doesn't know what he's doing. I've never said that. I'm asking technical questions about the equipment that we own as a district. That's not harassment.
That is your interpretation that it's not harassment. It is my interpretation that you have harassed Matt Woodrow.
Well, I guess, Mrs. Corcus, you have your own impression of what I've done. I'm here as an oversight member of this board to ask questions to the administration about how the school is operating.
You're a policy setting board.
We're an oversight board as well. I do not ask questions generally that I haven't researched and I want to find out more information. You know, if you choose not to do that and you choose not to find out about those things, that's not my issue. But I think we're pretty far off of the motion at this point. And
Any further discussion on the motion? We have a motion on the floor. Can you read that, Ian?
Dana Argo motion that no more emails will be sent from board members to administration and all inquiries be handled in a public forum. Seconded by Cheryl. Is that the motion?
All in favor of approving that motion as read, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
opposed.
3-1.